panel for 30 Days, 30 Ways UK. Now, this is a restart of the campaign that was postponed on the 8th of September due to the death of our lovely Queen. Out of respect, we said that we would postpone September as Preparedness Month, and we would reinstate it and transpose the dates to October. So it's not September as Preparedness Month now, we've gone into October. So although October's got 31 days, we'll be doing 30, so it's still 30 days. And we look forward to restarting this on Sunday, where we have power cut. Now, I'm joined on today's panel by Rachel McMahon from the Environment Agency. Hi Rachel, thank you for joining us.
Hi Jo, thanks very much for inviting us.
Thank you. And Jo Goldson from Northamptonshire Fire and Rescue Service. Thank you, Jo, for joining us as well.
No problem, nice to be here.
Cool. And what we will do, so for 30 Days, 30 Ways, the last panel was back on the 3rd of September, which seems ages ago now, where we recapped. So the start of the campaign, we looked at what risks we have. We talked about local community risk registers, and the highest risks being obviously flooding and fire. This is why we've got Rachel and Jo with us, and weather related incidents. And we linked in with the Met Office. They did a bit. We talked about fire escapes that Jo's going to be here to talk about, and flooding, which Rachel's going to be talking about. So the first week, just recapping what the sort of national, local risks are and going through what people can do for each of those. So Rachel, I want to come to you first, talk about flooding. So one of the biggest risks to the UK is flooding, nationally and locally. What can people do to be more prepared for flooding?
Well, there's a couple of things that people can do, and they're really quite simple and easy to do. First of all, they can check if their property or school or business is actually at risk of flooding from the rivers or sea, and it's really easy to do that on our website. We've got a new check for flooding service, which I'm not a technical person particularly, but it takes you through the system much more easily and much more quickly to the destination that you want to get to. So you can search by your postcode, or if you don't know your postcode, you can put the place name in there as well and say if that place is at risk of flooding. Obviously the rivers is the more important one for Northamptonshire. Then you can sign up to our flood warning service. That's a free service, and what it means is that we can send messages whenever there are flood warnings issued to up to 5 different contact methods. So you might want to give us a mobile phone, you might prefer to get them by email. I quite like having something to read in front of me rather than listen to an automated voice, but we can also send them by text message, and a new feature of that text message is that you can click through to see the actual location and a bit more detail about what the warning has been issued for, which is really great. So people can do that quite easily by calling our floodline service, which is the 0345 number 988 1188. And then the other thing that people can do is start to think about making a plan for their home and what things they would move out of the way, and connected to that is the emergency bag, which I appreciate there's another session on that as well. So grab and go we talk about, don't we, Jo? So just making sure all of those kind of precious items, sentimental things to you that could get damaged in a flood, and that are irreplaceable, making sure that you've got them somewhere that's close to hand. And also things like copies of insurance documents, passports, any medication prescriptions that you might need with you. If you're me, you might want a spare pair of glasses. Lots I don't think I'd be seeing very far at all. So it's all of that kind of thing, and just being prepared and thinking ahead.
Cool. And what are the flood warning levels?
So we've got 3 alert levels, if you like, that are issued in escalation. So the flood alert code is the very first early heads up that we give to people, and it just warns of water that could be on low-lying land and roads. So it's not necessarily going to affect properties at that time, but it is something that we give people as like an initial heads up, and it makes them think about, oh, so what if a flood warning is issued? What might I need to take with me? And then the next escalation up from that is the flood warning itself. So that does mean that we think that property could start to be affected within that particular flood warning area. Doesn't mean all of them might be, but some, you know, so definitely start thinking ahead and moving things out of the way. For example, your car, can move that onto higher ground, and Also, you can do things like check river levels online as well. And then the final flood warning code is the severe flood warning. So we don't issue them very often, but it's very much the danger to life. And we often work with partners like the fire service before issuing those, and sort of making sure that everyone's in agreement and working together. So I think the last time in Northamptonshire that we issued those was for Billing Aquadrome, if people remember, a couple of Christmases ago, which was quite severe if people remember the sort of depth and the speed of the water around that site. So yeah, so that's our flood warning codes.
Thank you, Rachel. And I know one of the things that really amazes me, if you move to an area, you know, first of all, check to see whether you are at risk of flooding. But if you are, make sure you sign up for those alerts, and they are so important to actually get that forewarning just in case. And it's amazing. It's amazing how many people don't sign up for those alerts, and they're free.
Yeah, exactly. So,
yeah.
I mean, if you think of like Northampton itself, just as an example, obviously we've got the new university there as well. So there'll be a lot of students coming and going from the campus and moving in and out of Northampton, I guess, as well. There's about 3,500 properties that are at risk in Northampton itself, and something like about 15% of them have proactively signed up, which means that they've given us those 5 contact methods that I mentioned before. That means a lot of people haven't, but we do have agreements with some of the mobile phone companies who can literally just like pick the numbers that are in a particular flood warning area and drop them to us so we can send the message out. But they, you know, people aren't necessarily going to be expecting that, and they'll wonder what it means, and it doesn't mean they'll necessarily listen to it or take action. So we're trying to encourage people to be as proactive as possible about it. But unfortunately, it still means that there's a percentage of people that we can't reach at all through the mobile phones or BT. So in Northampton itself, that's about a quarter of the properties that are in Northampton town centre. So that's properties that we can't reach. I know often people, you know, as I would perhaps before working at the Environment Agency, it's almost like you're waiting for that knock on the door and you think somebody else is going to tell you that there's a flood, and it might not be the case. So we just want people to be proactive as possible and to check their risk now, so they've got as much time as possible to take action.
Right, thanks, Rachel. And I know the other thing is that people can look at the Met Office website to find out the weather warnings. We've had a few of those with storms and rain over the last couple of months. So we were going to be joined by the Met Office, but unfortunately we haven't been. But if you check out their website, they've got lots of resources on the Met Office website that can help you be a little bit better prepared for any types of weather. Now, I'm going to come on to you now, Joe, because the biggest risk is fire. So, I mean, you know, you see fires everywhere, but what happens if fire's in your own home? Joe, are you going to tell us about fire escape plans?
Okay, then, yes. Hopefully this fire escape plan, hopefully you're never, ever going to use it, but it's always good to have it there. Now, some of you might have already seen a fire escape plan from your children, because when I go out to talk to children at school, that's one of the pieces of homework that I give them, is to sit down with everybody that they live with, and it takes 10-15 minutes maximum just to draw out the plan. And we do give them one to take home, but it's to draw out that plan, but so that everybody knows what to do if there was a fire in your house. I don't want anybody to worry about that. You know, it's very, very low, but it's always good to be prepared, just like for the flooding as well. So basically, if you haven't seen one of these, get a piece of paper, sit down with your family, and just have 2 nice big squares on there. One's your downstairs, one's your upstairs. Obviously, we've got a lot of houses now that are 3 stories high, so just put another one on there. And we're just going to draw a map of the downstairs, the upstairs, and the further upstairs if you've got them, marking in where the bedrooms are, where the stairs are. And then just with the family, just get a red pen or pencil and just draw some little arrows to show which way you would get out. Now, as a fire service, the information we give is the last person that goes to bed at night, if they could shut any internal doors that do not need to be open at night, if a fire does start in one of those rooms, that door is actually holding the heat and smoke back actually for long enough, if you've got your smoke alarms working, for people to get downstairs and out. What we don't want you to do is thinking, oh, let's see what rooms it's in. Okay, we need to keep those doors shut to keep the smoke away from us and the rest of the house. So once you've done that, put that plan somewhere where everybody can see it. That's a really good idea, and it refreshes your mind, you know, what is going to go on. So with your smoke alarms, ideally we like one on every floor of your house. They should be up on the ceiling, not halfway down the wall, because it's nice and easy to test them. But also be careful, if you are going to test them and they're sort of near the top of the stairs, please don't stand on step ladders or chairs. We don't want any accidents like that. Get something long, like a pole that you grow your runner beans up. That's nice and light, nice and long. All you got to do is tap your smoke alarm in the middle, and it should make that wonderful beeping noise that you get from it. And it just chirps 2 or 3 times, and you know it's working. If it's not, maybe you need a newer smoke alarm, or you perhaps just need a new battery in it. So one of the things that we can help, if the fire alarm goes off at night, we need to make sure you have got a clear exit out of that house. So what that means is nothing left on the stairs during the daytime, and we're all guilty of that, putting something on the stairs, oh, I'll take it up in a minute. And the time you get to bed, you go to bed, you know, there's about 3 things on your stairs. You think, I'll leave it till tomorrow. If you have to come down those stairs in an emergency, you're panicking. We don't want you falling over anything. And also your upstairs landings and your downstairs hallways also need to be kept clear. Some people might have just a piece of furniture in there, like a little unit or something like that, but not things that are, you know, piled up, coats, shoes and things like that. They need to be kept clear. And also, if you lock your door, have you got a key to hand that you know you can unlock it? If you put your keys somewhere else when you come in, could you perhaps put maybe a little nail at the top of the frame of the doors, the front and the back, just with a spare key on there, so you've always got that spare key if you need to use it. Once you get out, you stay out. So our motto is, you know, get out, stay out, call the fire brigade out. You might have picked your mobile phone up on the way, but please don't phone until you're outside, because if we have got that smoke there, you know, we don't want to be breathing in. So just get everybody out. If you haven't got a phone, go and knock on a neighbour's door, wake them up at the middle of the night. It's the main thing to do there. It's quite a good thing if you've got younger children, do they know what that noise is? And if they heard that noise for the first time, would it frighten the life out of them? We want them to know what it is. So perhaps when you do your fire escape plan, you could just go and press the smoke alarm. We're going to check it. We're going to check it the 1st of every month. Get the children involved in that as well. They can be my fire marshals to check that smoke alarm on the 1st day of the month. And probably it's going to off in lots of houses when we burnt the sausages or the toast, okay? We know it's really, it will go off really, really quickly. So basically do that smoke alarm, that fire escape plan for me. That would be great. And please make sure you've got the right amount of smoke alarms in your home and they all work properly.
Thanks, Jo. That was very comprehensive. I must admit, I always put things on the stairs and no one ever takes them up.
Everybody's guilty of that, I'm sure. Before I lived in a bungalow, I did it. You know, we all do it, but it's just getting it into that mind, shutting your doors. And the other thing I did forget to say was flicking any switches that don't need to be on. And it just takes those more and more risks away from you.
Yeah, brilliant. That's great. Thank you, Jo.
You're welcome.
That was a bit of a recap on what was discussed sort of 4 weeks ago now, on that week leading up to the our lovely Queen, the Queen's death. The campaign will start again, like I said, on Sunday with Power Cut, where we will be sharing tips on what to do in a power cut. And now, Jo, I think you'll probably rightly be saying don't use candles. Try and
if you can. You can get these lovely battery candles now, which are really good, and they flicker as well, like a little flame. But if you are going to use a normal candle that you light, just make sure it's on a proper holder. It's away from pets and young children, and also not near any curtains that might flap. And if you're going to go out, just blow it out before you go. Yeah, well said. So we'll address that on Sunday, Power Cut, and the campaign will restart. There is the last panel that we did back on the 2nd of September is on our YouTube, if you wanted to recap on that. And we will be doing another one on the 14th of September on the Friday, recapping next week's when we restart. Thank you, ladies, for joining me. I really appreciate it.
and I look forward to seeing everybody again on next Friday to talk about the last week. Thank you very much. See you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.